6 questions when being challenged. There I was in my office some years ago. Phone rings. Hi, this is Fred. I'm the professional union negotiator. I'll be meeting with you this Thursday. I just want you to know something. We're going to come up with a contract between you and your employees. And there's no way this is going to be a win-win. That means that, there'll be a little bleeding on both sides. And, we may limp when we get there. But we'll get it done sooner or later. So I just want to let you know, what time on Thursday do you want to meet? Wow. Hung up the phone, had a meeting set on Thursday. This is Monday. I got really clear who I was negotiating with. Ever have a shark in front of you? Have you ever felt like you were shark food at the end of the negotiation? That's what I was feeling back then. I came up with 6 very powerful questions that I asked myself and then I used during that particular episode on Thursday. Turned out to be a great negotiation. It was only about a week long. We came up with a wonderful outcome, a great contract, and I had a good relationship with Fred. That was the best part. That lasted for many years until he passed away. But it didn't start that way. So when challenged, when in a situation, whether it's a negotiation or just in any kind of relationship in life, these 6 questions can be very useful to create an opening, to create options. When you got 2 people stuck in their positions, one has to be the one to open up the options, the doorway for another alternative approach. And the person who's first to do that by asking questions, that's a power state, is the first person to stay in control. And the whole purpose of this is to maintain integrity for the mutual benefit of both sides. That's what these questions are based in. Now I want you to do something. I'm going to go through these questions quickly, and you'll see them on the screen. But these questions, even though there's 6, you're going to ask them 12 times. What do I mean by that? Before you ask the other side, before the negotiation or the meeting begins, you ask these questions to yourself first. You got to get clear first. What are you going to do when the rubber meets the road? Everybody has a plan when they go forward on a trip. It's a roadmap. So doesn't it make sense to have a plan and a roadmap should difficult weather arise when you're on the trip of a negotiation? And that's what these are based on. So I asked these questions to myself. I got really clear. I felt armed in case it went south on me, and Fred came on strong because I was not going to be shark food. Here they are. Question number 1. What is it that you want? It seems obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people don't do that when they're stuck. Rather than list what I want, you should be clear of that because you already asked that question days ago. And then you have to then give an opening of caring. What is it that you want? What is it that you like? The other part of this is the question number 2 is, how can I support you in getting that? What you're doing by asking a question, when you ask a question, the mind likes to answer questions. If you have somebody who's stuck in their position, the mind is wrapped around that. It anchors it in. But when you ask a question, a soft question like that, the mind will then look at other approaches. Also, the person you're talking to is getting the sense that you're really trying hard to find a way of resolving this, not just for myself, but for him. Most people go into negotiations talking about I this, I that, I this. But when you open it up and you ask questions about you, how can I support you? What is it that you want? You're giving them a message, an unconscious message that you're here and you're not going to end this thing until we both walk out winners. The third question, is there anything else that I can offer you, or how can this be resolved or accomplished in other ways? So again, you don't have to ask all 6, but one of these may be applicable when you hit that particular impasse. If I'm going to give you all 6, and for me and Fred, it probably went through about 3 or 4 of these. If one of these works and you got through that blockage, you're done with that part. But you have this toolkit on the side just in case. Question number 4 is, what are my thoughts, or what are your thoughts on how this issue could be resolved? When you're asking what are your thoughts, the mind likes to come up with other ideas, other thoughts. It's called lateral thinking, or brain blooming, or brainstorming. You're literally saying, look, let's work this out together. Let's see if we can figure out something radical, off the wall. And you'd be surprised how many times that works. And literally some of the crazy stuff that we came up with ended up in the union contract. And if it wasn't for asking that question, exploring a completely different pathway, we would have never gotten there. Number 5, are there any other alternatives that we can explore to resolve this for you or us or myself? The bottom line is alternatives is another way of saying, okay, we got this one, and now let's see if we can list a couple more. And you'd be surprised, sometimes alternative 4 is the one that you're going to run with. And then number 6, sometimes what I'll say to them is, okay, great, I feel I got it. I feel I understand. It's really important to say that I feel I understand, not I understand. Because that can elicit that, well, you don't understand because you'd be agreeing with me. That's not the point. I'm basically saying something that is authentic. I feel I understand what it is that you said. Do you have any more thoughts? Do you have any more ideas on this? Especially if what you understand they said is contracting and you're not willing to agree to that. You want to explore other things. You may have to come back again for round 2, round 3. Fortunately, with Fred and I, it took only 3 more times and we completely wrapped it up. So I had to work these questions in and out of the conversation, but we did get to a place where Fred felt that we really had now a long-term relationship. And we did this for years, We were together for 3 years. In fact, Fred got into an impasse with a completely different company. They were stuck. Guess who Fred invited into that meeting as a mediator to get the people talking back and forth? But Fred didn't understand as he was the shark in that one. And all I did is coach the person who was working with Fred in how to resolve this issue peacefully so that there's a long-term relationship. And yes, I gave them these 6 questions that I'm offering you. So just remember that when you ask, you're in a place of power, not to manipulate, but to influence. And just remember this, when you influence, it's a mutual benefit to all concerned. And so it is.